Yay, yay, yay. Hi, Haben. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Mute.
Yay. Hi, yay. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited today. We have Haben here with us and has graciously agreed to share some of her story and some of her journey. And I just love these. I love these because women who are powerful come in and let their walls down a little bit and let us see into, you know, what has gone on in their heart, what has gone on in their relationships, and how devoting to feminine and to intimacy and to sensuality as sound principles into their marriage, how those things have enriched their lives. So Haben, we're so glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Yay. Okay, so you guys, if you're watching, here's my invitation to you. Put any of your thoughts or questions or anything into the comments. We will circle back around at the end and you know, do whatever we can to, if there are questions, to answer any of those questions. Haben has agreed. She's an open book. I'm sure she would love for you to ask her personal questions, even about her her marriage and how she navigated stuff. But let's just dive right in. You ready?
I'm ready.
So tell us a little bit about your marriage over the years, because you guys have had kind of a rocky road. How long have you been married?
We just celebrated our 23rd anniversary. Yeah.
23rd. Woohoo!
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
and it's much better today than it was before. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Tell us about it. Tell us what occurs to you to share. I mean, obviously 23 years worth in a 1-minute summary. Right. What do you got for us?
Right. So we were high school sweethearts. We got pregnant. We got married very young. And we're in a religious background. So being pregnant before you're married, there's a lot of heaviness there. But we were young and courageous and bold and jumped in. Neither one of us had dads in the home. Neither one of us knew what a healthy relationship looked like. But we really were head over heels for each other. And I went in with a really unhealthy outlook that he was going to save me. He was going to be my happiness. He was going to make all my dreams come true. Like that lie that so many of us were fed. It's a really toxic lie. It really is a toxic lie.
Yeah, right. If you're watching, anybody relate? Like, I'm going to get married and it's going to solve all my problems and he's going to fulfill every part of me that feels empty.
Exactly.
I relate. Me too.
And that took a long time for me to unlearn, and it caused a lot of problems in my marriage, a lot of unhappiness on my part, a lot of frustration on his part, because he did want to make me happy, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then I just started trying to learn as much as I could about myself, because I thought I was the problem. And
tell me, Haben, tell me a little bit. I remember you saying at one point that he was working away and you had how many kids at home and were basically doing everything. Tell us about that.
Right. So he worked out of our home, or he worked away from home 8 months out of the year traveling. I had 5 children. At one point, it was 5 under the age of 7, 3 in diapers, and I was doing it all by myself. And he expected me to be able to just do it by myself. He thought he was the provider, and he would come home, and that was his downtime. He was done. He thought he just needed to relax after that. And I thought we were in a partnership. I didn't know what I expected because I didn't have a model, but I wasn't happy with that. And it was a lot. It was hard.
Right. I mean, how much resentment would that cause? But
Oh.
so when you, right? When you came, I mean, I think one question that, in a situation like this where things are rocky and it's difficult and it's up and down, in that period of time, what would you say kept you holding on to the marriage? What were those positive things that kept you anchored in?
Fear of having to really do it on my own. I mean, if I'm being honest, I never had a support system outside of him, which is probably a good thing that we cleave to each other. I think that that's a good thing. I didn't have an excuse. I didn't have a job outside the home. I didn't meet anybody outside my marriage. I don't know what that would have done to my marriage. But really and truly, just, I loved him. I loved my marriage, and I wanted to fight for that. I mean, we got married to be together, and I wanted him. I didn't want to want anybody else. And I wanted him to want to help me. Like, he wanted me, like, in the bedroom. That was never a problem. Me wanting him in the bedroom was different because I didn't feel fulfilled enough to want to give anything to anybody else. Does that make sense? But
it's so huge. I think that you just say that and gloss over it, but there are a lot of people, I think, even in this group, who are in that category, right? Where it's like, I have a low sex drive, and they're always thinking, what's wrong with me? I should want him more. I should want my husband more. But what you just said, it's like, I didn't feel fulfilled enough in myself to even get to that point within myself. And
I couldn't give to anybody else.
Huge.
There was a lot of resentment.
Yeah. So, but all of that, you'd done a lot of work up to this point, and when we met, we met like last fall or something, right?
Right.
So you had clearly done a lot of work, the two of you in your marriage and stuff. So where were you at when you made the decision to pursue like a high level, high container of deep intimacy and femininity? Where was your marriage that, what was going on there that had you go, yeah, this is what I want?
We'd been to marriage counseling. We were learning new tools, but there was still something missing. And I still was doing a lot of blaming and not really understanding his role as a man, and my role as a woman and my power in that. I didn't understand that. And so when you started showing up in my radar, it was the perfect time, because I believe in femininity, and I believe in I just didn't know the whole, not that I do yet, right? But I just didn't understand what that meant, right? Does that make sense? Am I answering your question?
Yeah, totally. It really does, because, while I can speak to women in the thick of trauma, or in the thick of, the situation where your husband's gone all the time, or whatever, I can speak to women in those different situations. It's my real playground is that place where you've already done a lot of that healing. You two are mature adults now. Like, you have done a lot of work to get to this point, but there's still that piece, and you're like, I know I'm made for more. I know our marriage is made for more. I know our family is made for more, and I want that. And so
I wanted that deep connection so desperately. Like, I wanted that. I wanted to want him, right? And I wanted him to want me, like, deeply.
That's beautiful. That's great. So you mentioned to me that especially in like my marketing and stuff like that, where I'm messaging out in the world and I'm sharing these messages, that the phrase resting in his masculine was probably the key phrase that spoke to you so much, that had you go like, wait a minute, what is this? I might need this in my life.
Well, the word rest,
why do you think
first
that?
of all.
Yeah.
The rest in him. like to be able to trust him, to be able to know that that's how it's supposed to be, and we can get there, just rest in general. I was living so much in my masculine all the time, trying to do it all by myself, being angry, frustrated, trying to push and make things happen, just the whole idea of rest and in his masculinity, not having to be mine, was just powerful to me. I wanted that.
Were you even aware that you had a masculine energy
Not
before
really.
we started doing this?
I mean,
right.
It makes sense now, but I didn't realize how much in it I was. I had no idea how much in my masculine I was.
Right. So yeah, if you're watching, it's like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about yin and yang, and this idea that we have both within us, and both are necessary, right? Parts of us. And Haben did a great job sort of summarizing what that masculine energy looks like. It's control, it's structure, it's doing it all. Some of these things that even can slide into toxic masculine energy. And I think most of us walk around not even knowing these terms, not even knowing this framework. And we may hear things in different ways, but I think knowing it in this framework is empowering, right?
For sure.
So resting in his masculine, and it makes sense that you were heavily in that masculine energy because you had to be both parents for a lot of your marriage.
Right.
So that makes sense, right? And then was there any part of you that was afraid that maybe your marriage or your husband wasn't ready for you to take this step?
I think that's something we all fear whenever we decide to choose and to change. We're all afraid of that. What if I change and he doesn't? And what if this doesn't work because of that? I mean, that's such a scary thing. I think that keeps us from really stepping in and really embracing, what we really want, because we're afraid we're going to lose what we have. Yeah, definitely.
That's a big one, huh? Yeah. So, and thanks for sharing that so vulnerably, because I think that I do see that a lot. I get on the phone with hundreds of women every year, women who want to change, women who want a deeper experience, a richer experience in their marriage, and not most of them don't say yes, for various reasons, but I know underneath all the reasons always is that fear, even for me. Well, what if? And then what if I change and then it's not meant to be and we grow apart, and then the unknown of all that, what if? And so it can be scary to step in.
So what I had to do,
what surprised you? Oh, go ahead.
With that fear, I had to let go of the control. I had to let go of my expectation of him. I had to just do for me, and I just had to be okay with that and see and just trust. Because if this is if this is what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to become, then there's good that comes with that, and there's blessings that come with that, right? So we have to let go of all the fear of what happens, what will I lose, or what, whatever, because something much more powerful is coming for us when we step into that.
Oh, I really love that. Can you guys feel Haben's power? I just love it when you speak in your truth, and it just, I want to just bathe in that for a minute. Say that last part again. Do you remember what you said?
About when we step into our truth, something more powerful, something better is waiting for us to just be brave enough. Yeah. And
I particularly, you brought in some of that feminine energy piece of just trusting.
Letting go.
You said another word. What was the other word you said? Letting go. And that's terrifying, right? But really that there is one cliche little phrase that I think is so true. What's that? Yeah, it's so scary is you know, gosh, you know what, I wish I knew it better. It's like, let the love go, and if it's true, it will return to you, or whatever.
Right.
Mariah Carey,
Yes.
Always Be My Baby, is about that cliche phrase. It's like, go ahead, you know, if you need some freedom, I'll give you freedom, because if it's true love, you're going to come back to me. I mean, that is a place of real surrender. You don't just say that. You can't just, like, that takes deep inner work to get to that place of surrender. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of, you know, kind of the fear and some of the discomfort that you guys have worked through and where you were at. So let's sort of shift now into some of the things that were benefits for you, or some of the changes you saw from doing this work and stepping out into the dark. What would you say surprised you in our coaching together about your husband specifically?
It really shocked me that as I surrendered and did my work, he just started like stepping up, man. Like in this sexy, masculine, let me take care of you way that I've never seen before. And I didn't ask him to do anything. I didn't ask him anything. I just tried to focus on my femininity and, you know, understanding what feminine and masculine it meant. If you guys can do that, it's so powerful to understand, you know. And can I just say, feminine power is not feeble. It is not, it's not submissive. I mean, not in the way the world sees it, you know. It is not powerless at all. It is powerful and sexy as hell. And it attracts a lot. So yeah.
I love that. And you know, gosh, isn't that amazing? And I don't walk around with promises like that, because we don't know. I mean, they get to choose for themselves, you know. And also what I know is that two things. I know that a woman cannot go into this kind of coaching expecting to change her husband, because that attitude alone is stifling and will not create change. She has to go in just focusing on her inner vessel and committed to her own fulfillment. And then the second piece is, I also know if she steps into that yin position, someone's got to meet her in the yang position. Somebody's got to fill in that role. But if she's always in the yang position, then her partner's just going to match her and fall into the yin position. And so that's what you've experienced.
So strong.
Cool. I remember a couple different times in our coaching of you just being like, you know, I was stressed out and all this stuff was going on in the home, and I decided to just go sit by him on the couch and like consciously choose to rest in his masculine.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like much, right? But like for you guys, that was like massive change happening there.
Right. Because otherwise it was a lot of this going on, you know. We were both in our masculine butting heads, and I chose out of that. And he stepped up in ways that just, like, I'm more in love with him now than I ever have been. And it's because I chose to love and understand myself better.
Yeah. Wow. So let's go into that. How would you say devoting yourself to the feminine, to intimacy, to sensuality, how has that all helped you in the big picture of your life?
It really has helped me let go of things that are not my responsibility, not my job to fix. And that includes with my children, which is a really hard thing as a mother to do. But I think we stunt a lot of growth in our relationships by trying to control them, and, you know, not even in a negative way, you know, but it just has helped me to relax more, like deep trust and relaxation. It's helped me to honor the men in my life more. It's helped me to feel closer to my Heavenly Mother. And she is a powerful being. She is not secondary. And that's a beautiful thing, to know that I'm of that, and that I have a creative part to play in my life. I'm not a bystander in my life. I have control. I don't like the word control. I have the ability to create and to manifest what I want. I'm powerful. And I didn't feel that way before.
Wow.
And my husband's powerful, and we're more powerful together. Have you ever heard of the term proving contraries? So that's two powerful things, but they don't normally aren't seen to work together. But when they do, they balance each other. They work with man and female. Two proving contraries right there. Like, we are meant to work together. We help each other. We balance each other. We strengthen each other. We temper each other.
I love that. And finding that synchronicity, finding that flow, it's really powerful. I know that in my own marriage, it was like from day one, I was so devoted to the principle of marriage and wanting it to work, which I think that you and I are similar in that way. It was like, like, I have to make this work. And I would read scriptures about unity and cleaving to your partner and all these things. And I didn't understand. I couldn't understand what that meant. I thought it was like codependent stuff, you know, like, oh, you have a weakness, let me help you fix it. Or like, you know, some of these different pieces, and we, you know, we move out of that, but then it's like, but really though, what is that unity? And I think that this masculine, bringing in masculine, feminine energy into our relationships allows us to flow together in ways that we aren't able to without it.
Yeah. I agree.
Cool. So, what would you have so much, like, I love your conviction in this, and what would you tell someone who was in these same shoes, and the same shoes meaning someone who has gone through a lot in their marriage, they've worked through a lot of pieces, but they're struggling with that last piece to let their husband back in fully. And I want you to just think about that for a second. And I want to just address those who are watching again. If you're watching and you have questions for Haben about her story, her marriage, or about anything that we've talked about here, put those questions in the comments. We'll take a couple questions at the end, and we'll go through the comments at that time. So yeah, Haben, what would you say to someone who, okay, like 23 years in, who's like, I know there's more meant for us. We have already made it this far. Why can't we have that last piece? What would you, what wisdom would you say for them?
I would just say that if you are feeling drawn to Melissa and her work, don't let the cost keep you from doing that, because what I gained from this was, Melissa, I could just cry. I mean, it's eternal. Like, it's the things that I've learned. I just have this deeper love for my husband, and this deeper appreciation for him, and this deeper honor for him. And, you know, I thought our marriage was, you know, getting better, and it was, but don't be afraid to make those changes. Don't be afraid. If you're called to if you're being called to jump and take steps into the darkness towards something brighter that you don't understand yet, don't be afraid to walk towards that, and trust that the support you need will show up when you need it. And let go of your expectations of your husband. And that sounds so contradictory. I mean, it sounds the opposite of what every woman has ever been told in her life. But our men are under attack. And a lot of them didn't have a model and to know how to be a man, to know how to be a husband. And they really, really want to love and support us. But in this world where they don't have to fight wolves, they don't really know how. And we don't really let them, if we're being honest. You know, we think we can do it all, and we can, but it's not going to be in joy and happiness. It's a lot. It's a much better place with him by my side. I'm a lot happier choosing into our marriage by choosing into me.
Wow, wow, wow. That's so beautiful. It's not a popular topic. I told Haben this. I was like, the benefits that you've gotten out of this and the convictions that you have about this for your husband. You guys, I don't know if you realize this, but every time I post about this kind of stuff, about our men and, you know, supporting our men, promoting our men, appreciating our men, crickets everywhere. People don't want to talk about that because the patriarchy and feminism and all these things. But when it comes down to two individuals and we let go of all this outside stuff that's going on, you're married to a human being with strengths and weaknesses, and you guys can make it work if you want to, and if he wants to.
Yeah.
And it can be beautiful. And you are walking proof of that. I know that this journey was not easy for you. I witnessed that in you, and it's my hope that I supported you in the way that you most needed in this. I know the investment was a challenge, and I know your husband getting on board about it also wasn't easy. And I think that what's just coming to me intuitively right now is I want to ask you, Haben, what would you say to yourself if you could speak to even yourself 6 months ago about, you know, how scared and confused she was, and now look at what she's done. You know, she chose in. What would you say to her? Maybe some words of gratitude or being proud of yourself.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to just share whatever comes up for you.
I'd tell her not to be afraid. I'd tell her to, even the scary, the ugly parts that working with you made me face and I wanted to run away from, just doing the work brings so much reward that no one else gets. You can't have this kind of growth. You can't just buy it and say I bought it. You have to do the work. And I'm so grateful that I'm grateful to her that she knew that she needed that she knew that she needed a coach because she didn't know how to do it herself. And I'm grateful that she was able to ask her husband for that. She really didn't want to. She really didn't want to do that. but she did. And thanks to you for, I mean, because I think doing it behind his back wouldn't have brought the rewards that asking for his permission, not permission, but asking him, you know, hey, this is our money. Is it okay that I do this? You know, and he didn't understand it. He probably still doesn't understand how that investment has really helped his marriage, you know, but I'm grateful. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Robin. Okay, a couple comments here. Sarah shared that she got pregnant before marriage too, and for years they felt like they had forced it. So just some relating there. And that's Sarah Thomas, you know her.
Yeah. Let that go, Sarah, because you can have a beautiful life. It doesn't matter how it started. Doesn't matter. Mine was very similar.
And her husband right now is away. She said, currently in the exact same boat, 5 kids, 8 and under, single mom, and good child support. For 10 months of the year, he's gone. So resentment does come up a lot, and she's slowly leaning into his masculine and trusting the situation. Yeah. Oh, okay. A couple people said, I love that. Yes, I'm made for more. So that was inspiring, Haben, when you shared that. Sarah said, for the longest time, I thought being a capable female feminine was doing it all, everything by yourself. It's so not. Answering my own spirit, getting help, asking for things, becoming soft is feminine.
It's such a confusing world. That's what the world's telling us right now. Women can do it all. We don't need men. And we can, but it's not as fun. It's not as rewarding.
Yeah, Brianne said they just celebrated their 16th anniversary, and she knows they're meant for more too. I did that last few piece. Yeah. Let's see. Brianne said, what would you say is an everyday practice that's been most instrumental in this amazing growth in your relationship? That's a great question. So if there was like an everyday practice, like what would you say has been the thing that stuck with you the most?
Just choosing to see him as my partner every day and checking where my femininity is, checking where I'm at in my masculine feminine scale every day, just kind of checking in with that, where I'm okay, I feel the stress, I feel the everything coming on, where am I at? All right, how do I shift that back into my power, back into my feminine?
Just being powerful. So our body is a great little indicator. Those tight shoulders, it's like, if you got tight shoulders, you're in your masculine. That's it. That's a pretty black and white indicator. I've seen that multiple people now. So that's great. Yeah. So checking in with that. And what was that other little piece you said about, what did you say before that?
Just, he's my partner, not my enemy.
Partner. The piece that I keep hearing that you haven't said that I think is huge in this is being and receiving.
Oh yeah.
Like doing this work has allowed you to really receive him. Yeah. And where I don't even think we realize it, we walk around closed off. Like a closed vessel cannot receive. It's closed. It can't receive anything. And so I think that, there's this piece of like receiving what's even already there, just receiving it.
And even sexually, do we want to go there?
Sexually, yes, we do. Of course we do.
Just imagining myself as receiving while we're making love, that was powerful. That was powerful. Just melting into him and letting him, give to me. You should try it. It's pretty powerful.
You should try it. Really though, it really is. Yeah, Brianne, I found receiving was something I had to choose to do.
At first it is.
Okay, alrighty. Yeah. I know, and then I think it can become more of a way of being.
Yeah.
That's been my experience. Do you feel that way, Haben?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's my goal, is just to learn to live in the flow.
Because it's a practice, it's a day by day, right? It really is a day by day. Yeah, but we don't know what we don't know. And that's the piece that I've been thinking about a lot lately, right? It's like you had to step into the unknown to get what you have now, but you couldn't have, even if somebody had even told you specifically, you don't really know until you're in it and experiencing it. And then you're like, oh.
Thank goodness I stepped into this.
Thank you so much for showing up in this space, and
thank you for
your passion and your conviction. Yeah, and thank you for choosing yourself and choosing your marriage. And I'm just seeing that ripple effect for you. I mean, I know that helping women is something that's, you know, really passionate and on your heart, and a huge part of your future. And you have a beautiful big family, and doing this work heals your ancestors. You know, if they choose to accept the healing pieces that you did, then you have helped heal them. And that ripple effect just goes on and on and on. And I just know that this deep work, and you choosing your marriage, your children's children in heaven probably are going to come and thank you for doing the work. So I'm here thanking you too. Thanks for sharing your story. Yeah. Okay. Any last words you'd like to share?
Just thank you for letting me do this, because it really helped me kind of, you know, break it down and kind of wrap my head around everything that I learned. And I've been thinking a lot about my husband and how things have changed. And this morning we made love, and I just cried, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And it was just pure gratitude to him, you know. That's why it was hard. He was like, "Why are you crying? Are you okay?" And it was just gratitude. So I mean, that's what we can all have. We can have this. And I want each of you to have this. Melissa wants each of you to have this.
Ah, my gosh, that's incredible. So you guys, just to summarize, to go from being resentful, like you know, basically a single mom, and you know, working so hard, and then when her husband was home, he didn't want to help out, he didn't want to be a part of everything, to being in this place where she is now having tears of gratitude overflowing during sex, which also was a shut down part of her.
Yes.
Like, this is a miracle. What we have just heard is a miracle. If you didn't know what a miracle looks like, this is it. It's changing the way that we experience our lives and changing from the inside out. And you did that, Haben.
With your help, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye.